Have you ever felt like you just can't get out of bed, even when you know you should? Or maybe you've postponed chores for the fifth time this week, thinking, I'll get to it later. Well, my friend, you might be showing some signs of laziness. And don't worry, you're not alone. We've all been there. But today, we're going to dive into the subtle and not so subtle signs that you're a little lazy. Sign number one, you're always too tired to do things. Look, we all get tired. That's normal. But when every task, whether it's laundry, cooking, or just getting out of bed, feels like an insurmountable challenge, you might be leaning into laziness. Sure, you might be busy or stressed, but if you find yourself using "I'm too tired" as an excuse all the time, it might be time for a reality check. Sign number two, you binge watch TV for hours and hours. Hey, we all love a good Netflix marathon, but there's a fine line between watching a few episodes of your favorite show and completely losing track of time, only to realize you've spent the entire day glued to the screen. If you can't remember the last time you spent an afternoon doing something other than scrolling through channels, it's a red flag. Sometimes laziness shows up as procrastination in the form of mindless entertainment. Sign number three, you constantly hit snooze. That alarm goes off, and you're just like 5 more minutes. But here's the thing, 5 minutes turns into 30, and before you know it, you're late for work, school, or a meeting. Constantly hitting snooze might seem harmless, but it's a sign of avoiding responsibility, which is a hallmark of laziness. Sign number four, you make excuses to avoid exercise. We've all had those days when working out feels like the last thing we want to do. But if every day is an excuse, "I don't feel like it, I'm too busy, I'll start tomorrow," then laziness might be the culprit. It's easy to put it off, but eventually, that lack of movement catches up to you, both physically and mentally. Sign number five, you live in chaos, clothes scattered around, dishes piling up, and your to-do list growing longer by the day, yet you can't seem to bring yourself to tackle any of it. If your environment is messy and you're constantly avoiding tidying up, it's a sign you might be leaning into laziness. Remember, our surroundings can greatly impact our mindset. If your space is chaotic, it might reflect a more laid-back attitude than you'd like to admit. Sign number six, you're constantly distracted by your phone, social media, TikTok, Instagram. The endless scrolling is tempting, but when you find yourself spending hours on your phone instead of completing important tasks, it's a clear sign that laziness is taking over. It's easy to get caught up in distractions, but it's harder to get back to work when the phone has your attention. Sign number seven, you overthink small tasks. Sometimes, laziness isn't about not wanting to do something, it's about overthinking it until it feels like a huge, impossible chore. Whether it's responding to an email, making a quick phone call, or even doing the dishes, you keep thinking about it until it feels more exhausting than it actually is. That's your mind convincing you it's too much effort, when it's really not. Sign number eight, you're always canceling plans. We've all canceled plans once in a while. But if you're consistently finding excuses to stay in, avoiding social events, or skipping out on meetings, you might be falling into a lazy pattern. Yes, it's okay to take a day for yourself, but if you find yourself canceling plans every time, you might need to ask yourself why. Sign number nine, you prefer takeout over cooking. Ordering in is great when you're busy or don't feel like cooking, but when takeout becomes your default meal option, it might be a sign of laziness. Cooking doesn't have to be fancy, it can be simple and satisfying. But if the thought of preparing a meal feels like too much, that's a cue to check your habits. Sign number 10, you avoid your responsibilities. We all procrastinate from time to time, but if you're regularly putting off big tasks, work, school, bills just because you don't feel like it, then you might be in a rut. Delaying important tasks can be a sign that you're not motivated, and that lack of motivation can often stem from laziness. So, what can we do about it? First of all, don't be too hard on yourself. We all slip into lazy habits sometimes, but if you recognize these signs in your life, it's time to make some changes. Start by setting small, manageable goals. Break big tasks down into smaller steps. Put your phone away when you need to focus. And remember, doing something is always better than doing nothing. By taking small actions every day, you'll build momentum, and before you know it, those lazy habits will be a thing of the past. Thanks for watching. If you can relate to any of these signs, don't worry, you've got this. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could use a little motivation. Until next time, stay productive, stay motivated, and most importantly, stay awesome.